voice of our Divine Mother. Our Divine Mother says, the complete unification of the whole being around the psychic center is the essential condition to realize a perfect sincerity. Sri Aurobindo's message is an immortal sunlight radiating over the future. Beyond all preferences and limitations, there is a ground of mutual understanding where all can meet and find their harmony. It is the aspiration for a divine consciousness. With love and blessing, says our Divine Mother. Words of our Divine Mother from the collective works of our Divine Mother, Volume 7, Question and Answers, Volume 7, page 8, question by a child to the Divine Mother. Sweet Mother, how can one receive from the Divine what one is in need of? Let me repeat. How can one receive from the Divine what one is in need of? For this, our Divine Mother says, what do you mean by what one has need of? You turn towards the Divine and you say, I am in need of this relation. I am in need of this affection. I am in need of this knowledge. I am in need of this material advantage. But are you sure that it is a need? I mean a true need and not rather an impression, a desire, a moment altogether ignorant? You know nothing about it. Our Divine Mother says, not only that, but generally you do not make the experiments sincerely. You expect the Divine to give you what you believe to be your need. Most often you do not even ask it of Him, and at the same time you look for the satisfaction of your need in the life around you through all sorts of external means. And also, have you formed a relation between the Divine and yourself? Have you formed a relation between the Divine and yourself? Do you think of the Divine? Do you turn to the Divine with at least a certain sincerity in your attitude? No, not often, you don't. And in fact, you reverse the roles. Far from trying to know and obey the Divine will, it is your will that you want to impose on the Divine when you tell the Divine, I have a need of that. And you do not ask Him even whether He would like to give you the thing. Or you say, I have need of that, therefore that must come to me. I have a right to it. The task of the Divine is to give me whatever I am in need of. Otherwise He is not the Divine. Our Divine Mother says, but the Divine, being the Divine, knows a little better than you what you are in need of, your true need, and it is that He will give you. All the same, if you insist upon imposing your will, He may grant what you desire to enlighten you so that you may become conscious of your error. You may understand that it was not a need according to truth. In such a case, generally more evil than good results, and you protest, why has the Divine given me a thing which hurts me? Forgetting wholly that it was you who asked for it. And if on the contrary the Divine does not give what you desire, you protest still. How is it? I asked for it. I have a need of it. and I do not get it. Whatever the divine may do, you protest. You protest always. Our Divine Mother says, but if instead of all that, you have in you simply an aspiration, an urge, an intense and ardent need to find what you conceive, more or less rightly, to be the truth of your being, the source of all things, the supreme good, the answer to all seekings, the solution of all problems. If you have in you this intense need and aspire sincerely for its realization, then you will not say to the divine anymore, give me this or give me that, or I need this, I need that. Instead, you will say to the divine, do for me what is required and lead me towards the truth of my being. Give me what you, in your supreme wisdom, see the thing needed. Our Divine Mother says, then you are sure of not making a mistake and not receiving anything that can harm you. One can take another step forward towards the truth, but that implies such perfection in self-surrender and self-giving that it is irrelevant to mention it here. The attitude of trust of which I spoke to you just now is already in itself a very much truer approach than the attitude which consists in telling the divine, I need this, give me. For in reality, very few people know truly what they need. Very few. The proof is that they are always in pursuit of the fulfillment of their desires. They are always in pursuit of the fulfillment of their desires. All their effort is towards this end, and each time a desire is fulfilled, they pass on to another desire, then another, then another. And when you have sought much, made many mistakes, suffered more or less, met much disappointment, then sometimes you begin to be wise and ask if there was not some way to get out of the ignorance of desires and needs. It is then the moment to open wide your arms, and say, here I am, Divine Mother, here I am. Take me and lead me to the true path. Quote from Sri Aurobindo's Thoughts and Glimpses. In each pain and torture of our being is the secret of a flame of rapture, compared with which our greatest pleasures are only as dim flickerings. Question, sweet mother. What is the secret towards which pain leads? For this, our Divine Mother says, to a superficial and incomplete understanding, it may appear that it is pain itself which the soul seeks. It is not so. The very nature of the soul is the divine joy, constant, invariable, unconditioned, ecstatic. But it is true that if you can meet pain with courage, endurance, and unshakable faith in the divine grace, if instead of running away when it comes to you, you can enter into it with a will and aspiration to go through it from end to end to find the luminous truth, the invariable joy which is in the heart of everything, then pain becomes very often a more direct and immediate door to it than satisfaction or contentment. Our Divine Mother says, I do not speak of pleasure, for pleasure turns its back constantly and completely on this profound divine joy. It is a misleading and perverse disguise which runs and turns away from the goal, and which we must not certainly seek if we want to find the truth speedily. Pleasure makes us light, it deceives us, it leads us astray. Pain, on the contrary, brings us back to the deeper truth by compelling us to concentrate so that we may be able to endure, face the thing that grinds us. It is through pain that one can regain most easily the true force when one is strong. It is through pain that one regains almost easily the true faith, the faith in something above and beyond pain. When you seek pleasure, when you dissipate and divert yourself in order to avoid looking at life in the face, to forget that there is a problem to solve, there is something to find, there is a reason for being and living other than that of simply passing the time, and you go away without having learnt anything or done anything. Then indeed you lose your time. You lose the occasion that was given to you. An occasion, I cannot say unique, but marvelous of an existence, which is the place for progress, which is a moment in eternity when one can discover the secret of life, one's reason for existence. You lose the possibility given to you to advance one step forward towards the deeper truth. Discover the secret which puts you in contact with the eternal rapture of the divine life. Our Divine Mother says to seek suffering and pain is a morbid attitude which is to be avoided. I have told you that very often. But to run away before them out of a superficial and light moment, seeking forgetfulness in excitement and pleasure, that is cowardice. When suffering comes, it is to teach you something. The quicker you learn, the less reason the suffering has for its existence. And when we know the secret, it is no longer possible for us to suffer. For the secret reveals to us at once the cause, the origin of the suffering, and the way to transcend it. The way is to emerge from the ego, to come out of this prison and to unite yourself with the divine. Melt into the divine, allow nothing to separate us from the divine. When we have discovered this secret, when we have realized it in our being, the suffering loses its reason for existence and disappears. It is an all powerful remedy, not only in the deepest part of our being, in the soul, in the spiritual consciousness, but also in life and in the body. There is no illness, no discord which can resist the discovery of the secret and its practical application, not only, I repeat, in the higher parts of the being, but even down to the cells of the body. If you can teach them the splendor that is within them, if you can make them understand the reality which gives them their existence, then they too enter into total harmony, and the physical disorder that produces the illness vanishes like all other disorders of the being. For that, however, one must be neither a coward nor a timid person. When the physical disorder comes into you, you must not take fright and run away. On the contrary, you should face it with courage, tranquility, confidence, and certitude that the illness is falsehood. And if you turn to the divine grace with complete tranquility and give yourself up to it in a total trust, it will establish itself in the cells of the body as it does in the depths of the being, and the cells themselves will share in the eternal truth and delight. These are the golden words of our Divine Mother.
Their substance was the resonant harp of sin, a net for the constant lightnings of the spirit. Its bodies woven by a divine sense prolonged the nearness